So yesterday I mentioned that in Satipatthana, Vipassana, in order to make everything complete, therefore we have to have three things. One, you must have a strong, concentrated, mindful state of mind. That mind can able to discern objects as they arise. So the mind has to be powerful, has to be clear, penetrative, thorough. The second one is you have to have the right objects. Not any objects, but objects can be directly known. And these objects fall under the fourth Satipatthana objects: bodily feelings, mental or mind, and also Dhamma itself, or conditioning here. Yeah? Four aspects of it. The third, this one, is to have the right goal. The goal has to be right. Not worldly goal, but the goal is a spiritual goal for us to be free from this cycle of birth and rebirth. A lot of us may not able to understand that fully. It comes with a lot of understanding of what the Buddha thought, the teachings of the Buddha, and why is it that is part of the goal, part of the whole Satipatthana. One thing we know, that if you have that goal clear in the mind, then you will strive. You are not just only practice, but actually you will strive until the goal is reached. Whether it's this life, well, cannot finish, continue next life. Don't put it too far. If you cannot finish this retreat, next retreat. If you cannot finish retreat, another retreat, until you die. So this is basically when we summarize, when I look at Satipatthana, we summarize this. Then these three components is the Holy Trinity of Satipatthana. So something that it has to be clear to all yogis. A lot of times yogis does not have direction. They come to practice. They want to progress, but for the not the suitable type of reason, not the suitable type of goal. It's as if sometimes I look at it as if like you have a big cruise ship. You have a big cruise ship. You develop the mind, everything is well, and so on. Then you have a big ship. In order to cross the sea into the other shore, and the teachings of the Buddha, crossing to the other shore. So your ship must be big in order for you to able to cross, because the sea itself, it's a very horrible, difficult to cross. So too, in the Vipassana, that the mind has to be very strong, very powerful. The powerful mind, it can able to withstand all the difficulties, the hindrances, all the flood that is coming into the mind, the negativity. It can be they can be very powerful. So the mind must able to withstand all these things in order for us to cross to the other side. But then some yogis have a big ship, mind is very powerful, but the ship does not have a direction, does not have another port. It go and cruise to nowhere. Like you all, I know, cruise to nowhere. Sometimes in Malaysia, they take this cruise into international water, then the casino start. The casino start there. Then it's legal inside, because they are in international waters. May not be that legal in Malaysian waters. So once you go out, then cruise to nowhere for a few days, then come back to the same port again. So a lot of people in practicing also the same thing. They develop the mind is very powerful and so on, but they do not want to go more than that. They just have nowhere to go. Yeah, yeah. They just enjoy a big cruise ship. They enjoy the calmness, the peacefulness of the meditation. They like the meditation to be calm, to be peaceful, so that the worldly stress, the worldly difficulty are in a way far away. At least the mind kind of have a rest and peace, and that's about it. Yeah. So this is something the that you know the teachings of the Buddha has showed us that finally, while we are still alive, then they are still in a state of suffering. The other part I also talk about is coming back to the practice itself. Coming back to the practice, then we have to have the right objects. The object here, as I said, in this Vipassana meditation, we take these four objects. Then within these four, of course, they have a lot of sub-objects, a sub-part of the objects. Like, for example, when you take up bodily aspect, the bodily part, the bodily phenomena or materiality, then it has these four major elements. They have a earth element, fire element, a water element, and you have a wind element. Four major elements. Now, in Vipassana, is that we have to look into the characteristics of these elements rather than the element itself, in the sense of not earth as earth, not water as water, but they are what they signify. What is their representation in when we comes into the practice? So we are looking at a characteristic. So yesterday I mentioned that this Vipassana is a characteristic-based meditation. Our mind has to go and look into the characteristic of these objects. And samatha is a object-based meditation because your practice is just only to take up that particular object and you ignore everything else. Characteristics-based meditation. Then here, characteristics is that they are various. There are so many ways that it can present the characteristics to you. Yeah. And also we're going to deliberate it a little bit more in order to see at least next time what you notice, you don't doubt what you notice. Because a lot of times if you don't understand what you are paying attention to, even though it is the right objects, you will start doubt that, am I doing correctly? Can object go in that way? No. No. Yesterday also I mentioned that in order for us to develop this satipatthana, it's always good to start off with this bodily aspect. And in the bodily aspect, when we start to develop this vipassana meditation, within the four elements, we take up the wind element. That means the motion. And the practice, the motion, which is very useful to arouse mindfulness because they are more or less consistently can be there. If you make the intention, you are walking. It's already, you can walk for an hour. That means if the mind pays attention to the movement, mindfulness comes in. Compared to the other three elements, they are not consistent all the time. Rising and falling also is a form of wind element. So as long as you are still breathing, they're still rising and falling. In-breath, out-breath is also wind element. Uh, right now, we try not to use this in-breath, out-breath because a lot of you using this in-breath, out-breath, you use it for samatha meditation, anapanasati meditation, and towards the way of samatha object base. That means you're not looking at the changes of the in-breath, out-breath. Your habit of your mind is that when you take up this in-breath, out-breath, is to just in-breath, out-breath only. As long as you can follow it, and that's it. Long, short, fast, slow, changes, more getting long, slow. You don't follow them. You just in, out, and just sit there and enjoy. So, although these are proper objects, but another thing is that because of the habit that you already cultivated from so many retreats in the past, then it's good that we ignore this in-breath, out-breath in the meantime. They are not wrong objects. It's just that the habit of a yogi is that they take up this one, they become too calm, too peaceful. So we ignore that. We take up a new object, completely a new object. So in order to develop the habit of the vipassana, to start off a new habit, you come here to the rising and falling, you pay attention to how it rise and fall as best as you can to see how, whether it's long, short, whether it's fast, it's slow, tight, pulling in so many different ways. In order for you to go towards looking at the characteristic of this wind element or this rising and falling of the abdomen. So that will be good. Here in the meditation, it's always important that when you sit down, especially when you sit down, ready yourself, then directly go into rising and falling. Don't go into like, sit there and then you start, relax. Relax 10 minutes. Breathe in, breathe out, feel the world. Then come back again. Breathe in, breathe out, feel. You can do that at home. Because when you do this at home, it's good for you, actually. Because you're so stressful throughout the whole day. Here, more or less, walk, sit, eat, sleep, walk, sit. So more or less, you are quite relaxed in a way. And also another thing is that you want to connect the whole walking into the sitting. You want to bring that clear, strong mindfulness into the sitting. Sitting, it needs that strong state of mind in order for us to notice the rising and falling and other sensation. You sit down without having that strong mindfulness or continuous mindfulness, that sitting is going to be difficult, not so clear. Clear for a while, but not sustainable. For a short while, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then it goes into thinkings, drowsiness, and so on. So we want the mind to be as alert as you can throughout the whole sitting. Perhaps you may not achieve that yet, but you go towards that direction. You're able to achieve the whole mind to be clear for the whole hour. So, you sit down, get ready everything, just be aware that you are here, then start with the rising and falling. Cannot put a hand there, feel it, what is going on, and so on. Now, the characteristic is that when you notice the movement, when you start notice the movement, that means you begin to notice the wind element, which is correct, which is real, which is directly known. So you put your labeling there, you watch it as clear as you can, then you watch that rising and falling. Again, when you're able to follow it, then you notice further what other characteristic that you can notice. Can you notice like long, short, or fast or slow, or whether it's tight, and so on. And this is, you should notice. But once in a while, it may show you sometimes it may show you certain peculiar or never seen before type of characteristic. And this is where sometimes you may doubt them. You sit down there, rising, falling, rising, falling. Suddenly, rising, falling start to turn around. Go round and round and round. How could it be? I thought that I'm breathing only. You look at your stomach, no? You still go up and down, but you close your eyes. How come it go round and round? Something strange. Again, it's not something strange. You see something a little bit more than just motion. It shows you something that your mind, as if like it made up into something round. A bit of a concept also is involved there. It's still okay, but you're still noticing something. So when this thing happen, the mind think that, or your intellectualization, or you think that, or your rationality, stomach cannot go round and round. It cannot be. I must make it up again. Up, down, up and down, up and down. So when you do that, you begin to seeing things what you want to see. You're not seeing things as they really are, You get what I mean? Just that it is not the way that you like it, or the way that you are familiar. It's out of your comfort zone, isn't it? You're not so, you're kind of like very not happy about it, or doubtful about it. Or sometimes yogis report that as if like the stomach goes sideways. How could the stomach go sideways? Or how come the mind, or it goes into a diagonal shape, 45 degrees, instead of going up and down, forward and backward, it goes sideways. Then after it goes sideways here, then it likes to go the other side, the other way. Then how could that be? Then, as I said, it's trying to show you something. Your job is to see them as they are. Not what you think it should be, not to bring your rationality into it, not to bring what you think is right for your body. Your body is trying to tell you something. The rising and falling is trying to tell you something. It's trying to show you something. But our doubt, our thinking, then it becomes a hindrance right now to prevent all these things to happen. Or sometimes, like you watch rising and falling. You watch rising and falling, suddenly heartbeat starts to beat. People. Oh goodness. Then you feel like, you're uncomfortable with it. Some yogis, when they begin to notice it, they feel uncomfortable with it. Then let's say it beat here. Oh my, I feel the heartbeat. Good. Then suddenly the heartbeat starts to move to the right side. Huh? Is the heart moving? How could feel here? How come we could feel here? Then again here, you are trying to rationalize again. Perhaps you're not just noticing the heartbeat, you're noticing something, that is some sensation that is beating also. You interpret it as heartbeat. You understand what I mean? You may not noticing heartbeat, but your mind is so sure that you think that you are noticing heartbeat. But when it starts to move around the body, let's say the heartbeat, or you think the heartbeat suddenly beat until go together with your rising and falling. And it happened in that way. You have to see them in that way. Not what you think you like it, or however you like it. So in whatever way that is trying to show you, you pay attention to it. Sometimes yogi notice that the stomach can be very tense up, very cramped, and then they can still breathe properly. The breathing is still very good. No difficulty in breathing. They check their breathing, no problem. But the stomach, as if like something, like like somebody tried to wring your clothing or your laundry, or squeeze it out and then pulling. Then you look again. No, nothing there. It's just when you look, it's just rising and falling. When you close the eyes, it feels like so many cramp and everything. Again, here is trying to show you something. Now, the characteristic may not be what you're familiar with right now, but it's trying to show you something like unpleasantness in the rising and falling sometimes. Sometimes it's trying to show you some changes in the rising and falling. So there are so many different ways that it will try to show you, or so many different patterns that it will try to show you. Your job is to sit there, pay attention to them, and don't judge them. See whatever that is coming to you, however it wants to show you. So this is how the characteristic are. In the beginning, it begin to show you something. Or sometimes, or quite many yogis could able to notice after they progress for a while. Perhaps they see a staggering of rising and falling. Rising, falling, stagger. Oh, it go up to the end. Then stagger, come down to the end. Or sometimes they notice going up is just 2 or 3 rising, going up, but falling is just only 1 falling. Sometimes you get more rising, a few falling. They are not the same. So that again here, the rising and falling is trying to show you its different pattern because it comes with some degree of progress. Okay, then when you are familiar with all these things, at that time your doubt disappear. The doubt disappear. You just sit there, whatever, however you want to show it to you, you pay attention to it. As long as your mindfulness is continuous, alert, clear, then all this phenomena or the experience of the phenomena will start to surface. Now, you've been here how many days? 5 days? 6 days? I don't count your days. You count. You see, you've been here. We also know that not every time you can able to notice this rising and falling, right? Sometimes they come shallow, not clear. Then you have to go to another object. Now, before we talk about another object that you have to take up, we look at sitting and walking as a whole. Now, in the sitting and walking, in order to understand, at least on a theoretical basis, is to understand that the sitting has got its primary object and secondary objects. Okay, walking also, it has primary objects and secondary objects. Okay, walking. Primary objects of the walking is it's where everything that is below the ankle. That's what you do. Lifting, right step, left step, lifting, pushing, dropping. And most of the time, you spend your time over there. And here, because of that movement, they are clear, they are continuous, so they become the primary objects. Secondary objects. Secondary object is everything that is above the knee. I'm sorry, not above the ankle. Above the ankle until the hip. So, secondary objects are also important in order for us to maintain some degree of mindfulness. In the sitting, primary object is this rising and falling. Secondary objects can be the pain, can be sitting, touching, can be thinking, can be hearing, can be sensation here and there. Those are in a way secondary objects. primary object here, although we use the word primary or secondary, but when primary object is not clear, then you have to take up the secondary object as if like you have to pay attention as as pay close attention to them also, as if like you do it for the primary objects. Yeah? Now take for example the walking. In the walking, now you lifting, pushing, or right step, right step, left step. After a while, perhaps the mind is not registering anything. It gets bored. Same thing, morning, afternoon, night, and then the yesterday also the same thing, nothing much. Yeah? So when it's nothing much, you just don't stay there. In the walking, it's easier because you can change your speed. That means you can either go slower, try to notice something, or another way is to look out for the secondary object while you are maintaining at the same speed. Maintaining at the right step, left step. Now, this time, you pay attention to the upper part of the body. Now, the upper part of the body, sometimes already some of you may able to experience. For example, you notice the weight. You notice the weight as if like one side can be heavier than the other side of the body, which is good. And you walk and you pay attention, noticing the weight rather than noticing the right step, left step. Or you can notice the whole leg from the ankle up to the hips, and you feel how the whole leg is moving instead of just right step and left step. And when it's moving, it may show you its own pattern. Sometimes the right way or the right gait, in a sense, a right pattern may not be the same as the left. It can be sometimes, perhaps, right can be slightly, you kind of like, you have an outstep, You're walking, but your step is like going out, but your left is straight. You walk there, you didn't realize that you are walking in this way. Again here, your job is not try to make it the same. No, I don't like this way of walking. Feel funny. Then you like the way that you walk. Again here, you see, you just cover up the truth. Just like that, you cover up because you think you are right and the body is not right. You see, just like that. It's just, you just don't like it. You will like the way that you walk this way. You like it straight. You like it nice. You like it good. No, that is not. Yeah, you have to see exactly. You just keep walking. Naturally, you walk, and you see the pattern of how you walk. That means you may able to feel how the movement of the leg is like. Sometimes also you may able to feel the hips movement, as if the hips is swinging to the left and right. Sometimes some people, the hips can swing more to the left, less on the right. Sometimes it's balance. So your job is again not to disturb it, but observe all these things as they are. Yeah. Sounds easier, but actually it's not, because your attachment, your craving, and your liking in certain thing this way and that way, that is where it makes it difficult. Yeah. The body is talking to you. The body is trying to show you something. Yeah. So vipassana is to walk there or sit there and just observe as they are. Yeah. And sometimes you can notice your shoulder movements, and you just keep walking and just notice this one. So instead of taking up the right step, left step, which is not giving you any much of mindfulness right now, so change it to a secondary object and arouse the mindfulness from there. Then later, when the mind is more calm and quiet and clear, Then go back to the primary object again. Then this time perhaps your mind is already ready for the third phase. Then go to the third phase as lifting, pushing, dropping. Then you can see a lot of things there. Usually in the third phase, you can actually notice the primary object more often than not. Yeah. During the first phase, this is where sometimes the right step, left step may not give you so much of mindfulness. Then we notice other parts too. If the third phase, you notice it, and then you notice that not so clear, the mind gets like a bit of thoughts are coming in. Thinking is coming in. You try to notice the thoughts, but it keep on coming in. So, other words, the mind at that time is not good for third phase anymore. So, when you feel the sign is in such a way, then we go faster. We go faster. All we need to do is change the speed to back to 2 phase. Then, if it's clear, calm, able to notice everything, then stay with the 2 phase. Is more important is that the mindfulness is continuous, able to synchronize the noting and the movement together. Yeah? This is, notice you're bringing in the secondary, one of the secondary object. Now another part of the secondary object also is good to do like standing meditation. After all, I see y'all in the dining hall. While you're got to stand there waiting for me to come in. So before that I come in, sometimes while they're preparing, you're already standing. So might as well make good use of it. Or sometimes also, of course, all the time when you finish that walk, you come to the end of your walk, you also stand. So might as well do something about it rather than just straight away you turn back and you want to start walking again. So again, tomorrow, try to notice the standing at least for a longer period of time. So let's say right now you just stand there for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or 1 minute. Then this time you stand there for 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes if you want to. Yeah. Now, taking up this standing meditation is that there are various ways that we can do. There's no particular way that we can do. Some other places that I've known of, yogis are to stand like 1 hour. Just like you sit 1 hour, they are trained to stand 1 hour, which is good. It's another way of meditation. But anyway, here we don't have to do so long. You stand there for about 5 minutes or so, depending. Now, when you stand there, here, firstly, you scan the body first. Like you scan. Standing. Scanning means from the top of the head one way. You sweep it down throughout the whole body. You don't stop until you reach to the soles. And then again, you scan for a few times. Sometimes you can scan from bottom, go up, all the way to the up. Again, few times. Just to know that you are standing there. So while you're scanning there, after a while you may be able to pick up later on some certain sensation that is obvious to you. Perhaps while you're standing there, the 2 soles can be quite clear. So you try to notice the 2 soles there. Pressure, or hardness, you notice it. Or sometimes when you also notice the standing also, you may notice that the body may not be totally straight. It kind of like slanted to the side a bit. Okay, it's all right, no problem. Does it really affect your standing posture? If it's not, then perfectly all right. Just stay there for a while. Feel it. How is the slanted body is like. Yeah? And also when we want to stand, and let's say this time you want to stand a little bit longer, it's always good to stand. The feet must not, to me, like, at this, I think, or I experience, is that you not to stand like the feet parallel to each other. It's more like the feet, it's V shape, slightly in a V shape, and a relaxed position, and a slightly wider, as if like your shoulder width in that sense. Yeah? And then you feel that way, or at least I feel it in that way, it's much more comfortable compared to when standing parallel in that way. Yeah? So it's up to you. It's up to you. So as long as you pay attention to them, then well and good. Sometimes when you stand there, you may be able to notice your rising and falling also. Then if you feel the rising and falling is there, then stay there for a while, feel it. Watch the rising and falling, see how it goes, what is going on with it. Use whatever that is noticing that comes in. Even like thoughts that's coming in, that you notice, thinking, planning. You want to open the eyes or you want to close the eyes, again, this one is up to you. Some people feel that closing the eyes, they can be quite the as if like something is going round and round. They feel not comfortable. They feel that it's more comfortable to open the eyes. Now, if you want to do standing for a longer period of time, it's always good to face the wall. Yeah, instead of facing to your path again, and you see a lot of people, so you face the wall where nobody is there. Yeah? Then it's easier for you to do standing meditation with the eyes open. Yeah? So you try to notice this standing meditation whenever you have the chance. You don't have to do it for all the time when you are walking and standing. You can do some of the time and try to notice whether you can notice anything clear, anything significant or not. Yeah? So you try that and see. Yeah, you try that and see. It's good to do that because it's another skill. It's another skill which can be very helpful for long-term development. Yeah? So you try that. So in the walking, so you try the secondary objects, you try the standing meditation, and then it more or less it covers a lot of your area of walking. Yeah? Now we come back to the sitting. Sitting, we have these secondary objects, and we have to have skills in noticing these secondary objects too. That day I mentioned about the thinking. Yeah. You see, one of the many things that yogi have is this agitated mind, wandering mind, and so on. As I mentioned, that when you notice this thinking, if it's there, you have to you have to put these thoughts as if like in front of you, and then you sit back and watch this thought as it's passing through when they are clear. Yeah? Wait. When you're sitting, if you want to put the leg like that, you have to cover it up, or you put it this one. Yeah. In the Buddhist way of this one, is never point your leg towards the teachers or towards the seniors or towards the yeah, you've got to be careful on that. Anyway, as I said, when you notice these thoughts, it arises, and you pay attention to it. You sit back and you notice these thoughts passing through one after another. So, in other words, you also noticing the thoughts, although they are secondary objects, but as if like sometimes the thoughts, as if like they are primary because they occur so many times. You notice them as they pass. Also, sometimes you also notice that the thoughts or the thinking is that they doesn't stay long. The moment you're aware of them, even that before you note them, they already disappear. Many times you also see that you watch rising, falling, sitting, and then thoughts arises. The moment you notice it, it gone. Good. Then you don't have to deal with them so much. But then these thoughts can be quite persistent. It doesn't come in as many long thoughts at one go, but it comes in snippets. Little bit, you look it, you watch it, I go away. A few seconds later, it come in and it tease you a little bit, show you, and it disappear. Then you try to look at it, it disappear. You try to look at it, disappear. Try to like playing hide and seek with you. You want to note it, but it's already gone. That is the characteristic of the thoughts. Some thoughts doesn't want to stay. Some thoughts stay and it's long and it's agitated. And also some thoughts like they are, like for example, sometimes you also notice that thoughts can be very random. And it's so random that you get up, you can't remember what you think about, but it's just nonsense all inside there. It's just nonsense, unnecessary, but you just want to come. Sometimes on other occasions, the thoughts have a specific theme. Like the person that you don't like, and then that story keep on replaying itself again and again and again and again and again. They have a specific thoughts, a specific theme. Or sometimes some yogis have that specific song repeating again and again and again and again and again. Morning the same song, afternoon the same song, evening the same song. Because perhaps once upon a time they loved the song. After a while they kind of forget about the song, but suddenly they start meditating, the song start coming in. Repeated. Sometimes it comes in not as songs, but sometimes it comes in as regret or worry. Worry over something that it keep on rolling on the same story again and again. How come I did not do this? He should have done that. You shouldn't have done that. I should have done this first. And then, the thoughts keep on rolling at the same, trying to solve problem concerning on that. And sometimes you feel that you fall into the thoughts and then you try to solve those problems and you feel that, how come I not able to think about the solution to this problem when I'm out there? Here, oh no, the solution is so clear, so wonderful. You already got trapped into it, So then sometimes you forget about it. After that, this type of thought again, it comes in. Then you think about it. No, that solution that I have may not so good. Then you start thinking again about the solution to overcome the thoughts, to overcome the problem, to overcome that worry. So again, you got trapped into it. So you got to be careful. So you got to see what type of thoughts are those, And if those are just random thoughts and they don't have any much of emotion, it's just, then you watch them as they are, which is good. If you have a worry or regret, you also notice as regret, worry, 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 worry. Now, another secondary object which is also important to take up is on the physical side, on the bodily side, not on the mental side. Now here is to look into the sitting and touching for a more detailed way of learning to deal with this sitting and touching. We know that all of you know that this rising and falling can be very shallow at times, not clear at times, and you got to do something. You cannot let rising and falling, nothing, when it's not clear, and you don't do anything, and you just sit there waiting for the rising and falling to come back. While you are waiting, that is where your mindfulness is starts going away, starts to begin to diminish, starts to weaken. You cannot afford to have without a clear object for the noticing mind. It needs to consume, it needs to look at the something that is clear. So when the rising and falling is not there, thoughts are not there perhaps, then it's good to notice the sitting and touching. You don't have to wait until rising and falling totally disappear. All you need to do is, while you're watching this rising and falling and they are clear, after a while it starts to fade off, and you know that it's not getting any more clearer. This is where you have to switch to sitting and touching. Here, sitting and touching have various way of doing it. Okay, have various ways of doing it. Now, to start off with a simple way, to start off with simple way is to determine about 3 to 4 objects of the body, or 3 or 4 sensations of the body. Take for example, the first one, the hand touching. If you put your hand this way, then it's one area, one point. If you put your hands on your thighs, then here you have 2 area or 2 points. Okay. Then you take the buttock, right buttock, left buttock. I mean, you have to able to distinguish them. If you cannot distinguish them, you only see one big buttock only, one big sensation only, But if you can able to notice them, you can notice that actually there are 2 different sensations. So you have 3 or 4 area, 3 or 4 points. Now, let's say you put your attention to the touching. Here, when you're noticing the touching here, you have to notice it, you'll have to label it touching, 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 4 to 5 times of touching, or a little bit more also is okay. Let's say 4 or 5 times you notice, you put the labeling there. At the same time, you feel the sensation, whether it's warm, cold, sweaty, or whatever is going on there. Characteristic, you notice it, the characteristic here. So after you notice that, you come back to, you go to the next. If you have 2 hands, then you go to the other one. If you just have a touch like that, then it's one area. Then you move to the buttock. Same thing. You label it as sitting. Sitting, 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 sitting. Because in a way, the whole body is sitting down. And also to differentiate between that touching and the other touching also in a way, But we call it sitting. It's okay. So you label it as sitting, 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 sitting. At the same time, you feel the sensation of the buttock. The pulling, the hotness, or the pressure, or whatever that's going on there. Take notice of 1 or 2 or 3 characteristics. Even if you take up 1 characteristic, it's already good. That means you have to feel something, not just only labeling without noticing anything. So you move to the other buttock. You feel the sensation there too. Here you notice it as sitting, 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 feel the sensation, then you come back again to the touching. As if like you go 1 round, you go 2 rounds, you go 3 rounds. You can do it in that way. You can do it clockwise, or you want to do it anti-clockwise. Also okay. Some people do it like let's say you have 3 points, hands, buttock, buttock. So what they do is that they notice the hands first, then they go to the buttock, then they come back to the hands again, then they go to the other buttock, and come back to the hands, then go to the other buttock. So different way, just to stir up the mind. Yeah? So, or this is a simple way to start it off. So to make sure that rising and falling is not there, there's another alternative for you to be able to pick up. That's for your mindfulness to pick up. Yeah? And some people like it to do another points, let's say other points. Let's say you sit there cross-legged. You have your hands, and perhaps your buttock may not be that prominent or that clear. They want to notice the let's say the calf, one part of the calf, one area of the calf that is pressing down, and also perhaps they can also notice the thighs, another area also. So they have a calf, one thighs, the other thigh, the other calf. They can notice that. Sometimes may not be balanced. Sometimes maybe one thigh here, one calf here, and then the other one is the knee have the sensation. So again here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they take up this 4 area. You determine this 4 area for you to take note of them. So you do the same thing. You pick up the characteristic of when you are at that particular area, noticing the sensation of what is happening there. Yeah? Don't do more than like 4 or maximum is just 5. Don't do more than that. You start thinking about where to go next. I was taught in the past to take up 10 points. 10 area. Then by the time I reach the 4 and 5, I start thinking which is number 6. Then I spend more thinking about which area to go rather than paying attention to my objects. So I says, too many. Keep it simple and do it a little bit more. Some people, I've been taught also to notice the lips that is touching also. I can't feel anything much in the lips. So if you cannot feel it, then forget about it. Then they thought that, the shirt is touching on the body. Yes, theoretically, yes, but when you feel it, nothing much. So it's not a good point if you cannot feel it. It has to have something significant, something clear, because the mindfulness depending on something clear for you to see. Sometimes you may feel that the hands may not be that clear. Okay, but because the hands are here, once in a while, just rub it a bit. Rub it a bit. Then you feel something. Okay, then stop. Then feel something. It's perfectly okay. But don't do it all the time. And then it'll be then it'll be a very disturbing to a lot of people. Just a few times, just to feel some sensation there. Then okay. So this is on the sitting and touching, and they can be very, very helpful. You have to have this sitting and touching because when you're sleepy, sitting and touching can be very helpful. Other words, for example, when you're sleepy, you notice that sleepiness is coming in. Then, if you can do that, you note sleepiness, sleepy, but again, many of you will fail. You will sleep, you will go drowsy even more. So instead of doing that, we pull the mind out and try to notice the sitting and touching. If you feel that the sleepiness is coming, you notice sitting and touching slightly faster than what you do just now. And means that touching. At the same time, you feel it. Then you go to the buttock, touching, sitting. Again, you feel something. Go to there, as if like you have to make the mind vibrant, make the mind active again. Okay? If not, if you don't make it vibrant, make it active, the mind will just be dull, not clear. Yeah? Then kind of like the time is wasted over there. So do something about it. It's not easy for us to do that in the first day, second day, or third day, because no matter what you do, you still sleep. You're still drowsy, you still have, the whole mind is heavy. But after 4 days or 5 days, this is where things are begin to pick up. Sleepiness begin to get less. But sleepiness still come in though. It's not that totally disappears. Come in certain hour, and then that time you get ready for it and do sitting and touching. If the sitting and touching it's not helpful, get up to do a bit of walking, or if you want to do a bit of standing, then it will be good for you too. And then after that, come back and sit again. If it's too heavy, the sleepiness. So this is in the area of secondary objects. Other areas of secondary objects is like pain, and also that one also need a lot of explanation to understand the pain. When you see the problem with pain, theory-wise, is that pain arises, pay attention to it, then see how it changes and so on. Yes, this is the instruction. But yogis have all kinds of idea for the pain. All kinds of wrong idea about the pain. One of the problem is that yogis is when they deal with the pain, they note it in order to make it go away. Isn't it? Is it right? You say it's not right, but when you're doing it, it's so painful. You want it, you just want to get rid of it. It's because you just cannot take it anymore. It's painful. Yeah. So the first thing that is not because the noting itself, it's because sometimes yogis already have wrong perception on how to deal with the pain. It has already have wrong idea. When the pain, yogis have like, when the pain arises, you want to note the pain in order to make the pain go away. You don't want the pain there. So in other words, your ulterior motive is already there. You're not trying to see it as it really is, but you want to do something in order to get rid of it. And then you want to feel peace and calm again. That is, most of us do that. So that one, you got to be careful. When you pay attention to unpleasant objects, your job is to see the objects, their characteristic as they are, not to get rid of them, not to make them disappear. No. Yes. When the pain is getting more and more and stronger, and you come to the limit, see whether your theory and the application right now able to work together or not. Usually it's not that easy. We understand that once the anger arises, or the dislike or the aversion arises, this is where the mind wants to reject the pain. So here you have to make sure that when you notice anything that is unpleasant, your job is not to get rid of them, not to note them or whatever to get rid of them. Your job is to make sure just to see them as it is. Watch the pain, how it grows, and what is happening to the pain. All right? So we stop here for tonight, and we'll continue on this tomorrow.